Thank you very much for having us here this morning. My name is Tanya Lees and I'm the team leader in resource recovery, and this is my colleague Ailey, who is our contract supervisor for recycling. The purpose of this presentation is to provide information to you on what our service is about, what we're actually providing to the public, so it's an overview. Do you want to go to the next slide? So this is what we're going to run through, just to give you an overview. So we've got curbside collection, our transfer stations, battery program, facilities, education and outreach, our bin checking auditing, a bit of a financial overview, customer inquiries, and then at the end we can have any questions that you would like to ask. So on our first slide, what we're discussing here is our curbside collection, which you should be fairly familiar with at home. So we have the organics, the red and the yellow bin. We actually have 516,000 bins in service. So that's all three services, the green, the yellow and the red. And then we have a further 16,000 in service across the peninsula. There are some areas in the peninsula that, because of the landscape, are not possible to collect from. So where that is the case, we have some community collection points for residents in those areas. They have recycling and rubbish points, and then we have 2 additional that are recycling only. In the next year, we will be reviewing those services to see if we can add additional properties onto the curbside collection to make it easier for those residents. We also offer an 80 litre set for smaller properties or maybe single person households where they don't feel that they need the full standard set, and where we have multi-occupant dwellings, so apartments, they can also have a communal service where we supply 660 yellow and red bins, and then they have 240 organics. But that really depends on the number of units and what's available as far as collection on site. So from a collection point of view, you'll see from the slide that we actually divert quite a significant amount from landfill through our organics and recycling services. And we've got a breakdown there per person of what we're actually diverting from landfill. So currently our organics is being made into compost for reuse. Our recycling is sorted and baled and sold into commodity markets. And then what we receive through the red bin goes to Cape Valley landfill.
In addition to our curbside services, we also have the 3 transfer stations in town that you might be familiar with at Metro Place, Parkhouse Road and Sticks Mill. And then at Banks Peninsula, we also have slightly smaller services at Barry's Bay and Birdlings Flat. So what's provided? This is an overview. So if residents have excess household recycling, which happens quite a lot over the holiday period coming up, they can go to the transfer stations, and they also have a lot of other free options as well. So things like scrap metal, batteries, any hazardous waste, domestic hazardous waste, household cleaners, that kind of thing. Then we also have the paid services. So there's the refuse disposal, excess green waste, hard fill, plasterboard, and also clean soil as well.
We also offer a household battery recycling service, and the purpose of this is to get the batteries out of not only landfill but out of our bins and out of our collection vehicles. So in the last financial year we had 36 fires across the trucks and our facilities. Luckily that didn't result in too much damage, but we are constantly working towards limiting this risk. So we currently fund 6 battery drop-offs around the cities, and we are about to upgrade our receptacles to more purpose-built receptacles. That's some graphics that you'll see that our marketing team have been working on, and we're going to extend it to 8 different collection points. In FY25, we actually collected 15 tonnes of batteries, and it was very heartening at the show this weekend, the number of people that knew that it wasn't safe to put batteries in bins and were interested in where they could drop them off if they weren't already doing so. So now we're going to move on to our facilities. So one that you'll be familiar with is our organics processing plant that is operated by Living Earth. So they have around 72,000 tonnes of organics input every year, and that's processed on the site. And this material comes from our green bins, the transfer waste drop-off. Waimak Council also use the facility for their green bins, and they also have commercial companies. And Living Earth will continue to process on the site until the new eco-gas facility in Hornby is fully operational, which is intended in 27. Our recycling goes to the MRF that is run by Eco Central in Parkhouse Road, and they process around 31,000 tonnes of product in FY25. It's actually one of the two largest MRFs in the country, very similar to the one in Auckland. The material received by the MRF is from our recycling bins, the RRCs drop off at the transfer stations, and they also have commercial customers. There is a processing fee for the MRF, and this is offset by the sales that they receive for the materials. So the better the quality, the better the price they get, the lower that we end up paying as ratepayers. There is high-level information on their website about their end markets as well. In 2022, there was a 16.8 million upgrade with some money that was funded from government, and that's made a significant improvement in the quality of what they're able to produce and send offshore or in New Zealand where possible.
Our waste all goes to Kate Valley Landfill in the Huranui district, approximately 90 minutes drive away from here. So in 2004, Transwaste was granted resource consent to operate the landfill for 35 years. So the ownership breakdown is half is Waste Management New Zealand, and the other half it comprises of 5 different councils, so ourselves and 4 other Canterbury councils as well. So the reference there to Te Moana Bush, it's a 410 hectare area of land in the middle and lower Cape Valley, and it's a restoration project that Transwaste has taken on as part of their operating in the area, and they also have long-term plans for one day when the landfill closes down. They've planned for the management of it and the restoration to continue beyond then. Burwood landfill has progressively been closing since 2019, but it is still available for the disposal of clean soils. You have to have a permit, and the soil has to have been pre-approved and tested. They're not allowed to accept any hazardous materials, so any contaminated soil has to go to Kate Valley, and the resource consent currently expires on the 30th of June 2026. The rest of the landfill has gone to parks, so that's been restored and handed over. So on to our education outreach now. So we do a lot to try and get out and amongst the community. We work a lot with the comms and marketing team, and we respond to requests from residents, both what we get when we're out in the community and also what we receive through our Hybris system. So we have the app, which has averaged over 34,000 active monthly users in financial year 25. We do a lot of in-community education, so we proactively go out and we speak to groups of people. We're also quite strategic about the community events that we attend. We attend events where we get a lot of feedback and interaction. So, for example, we just spent 3 days at the AMP show, and that was really fantastic. We've noticed that the general knowledge of residents has massively increased in the last few years. Their questions are more complex about waste management, and their general knowledge reflects that. It seems that our education outreach is really working. We also have a contractor that comes in and she delivers waste education workshops, which are often booked out. And then we have our annual open day at the materials recovery facility, which is very popular for people coming through and seeing what happens to recycling, and they really want to know what goes on behind the scenes. We also have a teaching team, not in our team, but a separate team, the Learning Through Action team, and they deliver 4 waste-related programs it's offered to all the schools in Christchurch, which is over 200 schools, and it's very practical hands-on learning. It fits in with the curriculum and helps deliver our messaging as well. We also have a bin educator team of 4 people, contractors. They go around, they check the bins, they provide feedback. You either get a gold star, educational fly, or contamination. We do also have a hot list for repeat offenders. They are given 3 strikes, and we do find that that's usually effective. It's the last case scenario that we actually have to remove the bins. So the education and the auditing has led to a huge decrease in contamination. So just to give you some context, we collect between 20 and 30 trucks of recycling a day. At our peak contamination, which was just in that 2020 period, we had almost half of our trucks had to go to landfill because the recycling was so contaminated. There was a lot of contamination around the country. Other councils experienced it too. So we've been very strict, and we've been very thorough with our auditing and our education. It's approximately $1,000 per truck to send it to landfill. So you can see that decrease has led to huge cost savings.
And our final slide is, sorry, it's not actually a final slide, second to final slide. It's about our financial overview. So waste information and education. So this includes our campaigns that we work with our marketing team, our education material that we have available, our auditing team, and our in-person education. Then which is quite a small percentage of our total spend. Our waste collection and processing is around 55% of what our total spend is for our team. And this includes the collection of all 3 bins and then the disposal of the green and yellow bin. Our transfer stations are mostly funded through the gate fee that comes through. So this is what we spend on top of the gate fee. And our residual waste disposal, which is what's going up to Cape Valley, is 42% of our spend. We have, in FY25, we lifted 11.2 million bins over the course of the year. This is when you put your bin out each week, how many we've done in total, and this resulted in 41,000 customer inquiries, which when you look at that percentage-wise is fairly small. The majority of the inquiries we get would be bin not collected, which are resolved through a process we have with our contractor, and damaged bins. Those are the 2 biggest categories. Last year, we resolved those tickets within 75% of them were resolved within the SLA that we have. Do we have any questions?
Certainly do, yes. First is Cal, please.
Thanks very much, Tanya and Ely. You guys do a great job, and every time I've dealt with your departments, it's been first class. My question is just around when is the contract up, and how likely is it that the period where someone loses their bin or has it removed or something will be up for negotiation? Because currently, if they don't report it within 2 days, they get charged for a new bin, which causes quite a bit of angst. Yeah.
So yeah. Are you talking about the collection contract, and there might be a change in the contract?
Yeah, because the last time we spoke, you said it would be $100,000 to change the contract, from sort of 2 days. So if we were to give people a grace period of a week or even longer, as Jake and I have found out, it can be quite frustrating for residents.
The current contracts come up in 29 as it stands at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that still applies a $100,000 variation. The other thing is What kind of batteries start fires in trucks?
Lithium are the worst.
Lithium.
Damaged batteries are probably the worst. Lithium and e-batteries, particularly bikes and scooters, laptops, those kinds of, the embedded ones are probably the worst.
Yeah.
Difficult to know because small batteries would probably burn through before anybody can actually see what's there that started it. So it's hard to know if the bigger batteries, we know that they're a problem because they're still partly there by the time the fire services put the fire out. But lithium's definitely the bigger issue.
Okay. And then just one final question. The Burwood landfill resource consent expires in 2026. Any likelihood that that will be extended or reapplied for? Because obviously it's very convenient for some things to be dealt with there.
It has been extended quite a few times previously. I imagine that will be looked at the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Celeste, please.
I'm not sure if this is a question you can answer, but in regards to, we get a lot of problems with dumping, particularly in areas in the red zone and other parts of the eastern suburbs, because there's not a lot of people around. Have we, I know this has come up before, I know Councillor Keown's mentioned it, but having those free pickup days, is that something that would be, what would be the process if we were interested in having a look at that?
There is a policy that's being worked on that will be presented in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would that be sort of in the next time for the annual plan, or is it sort of a long-term? Okay.
In months to come.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
early
Okay.
new year, I would say.
And the other quick one would be, it's a very small thing, but it's a bit like sort of some of the smaller policies and the impact they have on people. One of the things that comes up a wee bit is actually people who are elderly sometimes struggle with the big bins, especially if they've got arthritis. And actually there's quite a cost to switching to a smaller bin, which, you know, it does confuse me because you'd assume that there's a lower cost to council long term with less rubbish. Are we looking at, or is there scope to review that? I know there's exemptions, but usually people don't know that, so they end up paying.
If we have had somebody elderly with that situation, we will just do it for them. The reason why there is a cost is because it gets expensive if people to and fro for our contractor. So, but where someone does contact us and there's a legitimate reason, we will just do it.
Okay, yeah. I mean, staff have been incredibly helpful, but I just thought if people are switching down, I would have thought there shouldn't be a cost. Switching up makes sense.
There's still a cost.
Yeah.
The bins are owned by the contractor. So for them to
Right.
be switched out, they're collecting them, they're washing them, they're repairing them, they're replacing them. So there is an administration and a physical cost for them to do so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler. Tyler, you there out there, mate? Somewhere?
Yep. Can you hear me all right?
Good as gold.
Sweet. Surprise, surprise. I've got sick kids, so sorry I can't come in. I just have I'm not sure if this is the time to ask around fly tipping. Would this be the time to be asking about that?
This is really just an overview of
Yep.
what the service does. We probably can't really go too much into fly tipping at this point.
Okay, no worries. Would there be an opportunity for us to be raising a few of those things, particularly around the student areas? Would there be a future
Yep.
workshop coming up?
Yep, you can certainly provide information if you've got something.
Yeah, no worries. It's more around waste minimisation as an overview. It's particularly associated to, obviously, semester 1 and semester 2 fly tipping, and obviously you'll probably see that there's a significant uptick, particularly around those times in July and now. Is there any game plans that the council's doing in regards to trying to not only just educate, but get those couches and desks and things off the street?
So we did start a program a year ago with the student union to provide them with a trailer that they could then rent out or give to students to allow them to take that to the transfer station, have a set cost for a trailer load of material. That has stalled, and that's something that we'll be looking to reiterate.
Okay. The next question is the hardest part. So obviously we snap send solve to our supplier, the people who provide the service. Would there be a potential of layering in UC if we know that the furniture actually is associated to the students?
Do you mean like pass
Like we
on the
snap send solve,
costs?
for example, and you know how Kmart, Pack and Save, etc. pick up their trolleys. would there be a potential for UC being notified when there are things like that in our streets, not just the service provider that we've got?
I think we'd have to look at the legal implications. I'm not sure if the UC would be legally responsible for the actions of individuals outside of the UC grounds.
Yeah, I apologise. I thought I meant it was more around notification, just letting them know that something's there. I'm pretty keen to talk to you guys offline about maybe some ideas that we could probably do that will probably be cost friendly. But we could talk about that offline.
Yep, I'll certainly have you up.
Would be open to that.
Thank you.
Good. Right. Pauline, thanks, Tyler. Pauline.
Oh, thank you. Just noting the transfer station that cost us 1% of our spend. Is there any consideration of actually increasing that gate fee to cover that $670,525 shortfall? Because we've got an annual plan coming up, that would be quite.
We could consider that, but I think that the feedback generally, particularly with illegal dumping, is that the gate fee is cost prohibitive, so it may have an effect of potentially increasing that.
So 1% would not be a huge dollar figure, I would assume. What's the minimum cost? About $15?
I think it might be more to 17. Yeah.
Yeah. So we could consider that in the annual plan.
We can consider anything.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, right. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you. The recycling facility is a fantastic operation. When's the next open days coming up?
That's a great question. We're thinking about April next year. We just have to make sure it doesn't clash with any other events. And we usually have it about March, but we'll do it a little bit later just because sometimes we're competing with the beach on a nice sunny day.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I've also got some questions about the projected financial overview and the service level. So the projected financial overview for FY27, I'm keen to understand how does that compare with the current percentage of spend? And are there any trends in the last 3 years that we need to know about? Because we're looking at that in isolation without any understanding of variance around it. So how achievable is it?
I'd have to come back to you exactly on what the spend was for 25, but I believe it was 52 million, I think. So
it would be good if that can be circulated so we can see if there's an uplift or a downward trend, just to understand what that looks like. And then the final one really is just around the levels of service. That was the next slide. Has there been any changes to the service levels in the last couple of years, and do you anticipate any coming up in the next review of our long-term plan?
There haven't been any changes in levels of service, but there is a presentation this morning that follows this that we'll discuss that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of questions from me. The four full-time employees that go around, do the 800 bins and look in them, are they paid for by us, or does that money get charged on to EcoCentral because it's their bins that we're making good?
They're actually part of the collection contract. So it is part of that contract that we pay for, that's what they do. They provide that service as part of that contract.
So Waste Management supply that and we pay for the four people?
Yeah, so as part of the, we pay for some of that. We cost share it with Waste Management. So part of the collection contract is that drivers should be checking bins or looking at bins. It's not very practical for that to happen. So Waste Management, they're contributing to that service as well as council. And because obviously one of the slides that we show you today shows the advantage of what we have achieved in the 5 years with the team there, it is BAU now, part of that contract.
Okay, no, I was just wondering if, because the benefit of it is to EcoCentral, if it's the yellow bins, that they should be paying for those people, but I'm just throwing it out there. Anyway, next question. I know down at Living Earth, they use all the green bins and there's so many tonnes come in, and I know they use all the green waste from Bromley. The Bromley one goes in there as well. Is the green waste from Sticks and Parkhouse Road still going somewhere else?
Currently, it's under the Eco Central contract that it's theirs, and they have contracts in place for that. They have, however, when Living Earth have required additional material, they have supplied that to them. But in general, it's Eco Central's under their contract currently to sell. They own it.
Yeah. So going forward, when Eco Gas thing gets up and running, will all of it go to there?
I believe under the new contract it will.
Okay, that's right. Okay, just ask a question. And lastly, sorry, I know, now correct me if I'm wrong, I might be totally wrong here. The yellow bin and the green bin are charged to ratepayers X dollars per each. The red bin, is that charged at capital value on, it's different?
No, it's part of the annual general charge, so that which is a flat fee, but it's only a percentage of it, not the entire amount of it, and I can't give you the exact figure that encompass.
Yeah, so just in my head, that the red bin is charged different to the green and yellow.
It comes from a different source in the rates.
Okay, all right, okay, that's cool. Yanni.
Thank you. I was keen to understand, looking at the presentation on the customer inquiries, that the damaged bins, they're only meeting 64% of their service level agreement, and the average ticket day is 30 days.
Yeah.
I've been having a lot of complaints from people who are ringing up to get replacement bins that they're not being replaced in a timely manner. And it looks like from this that they're not meeting their service level agreement. I was interested to know if there's any issues that we should be aware of in that space.
So one of the complications is with that we quite often find is that the resident sent a text to say your bin will be repaired on X day, please leave it out for the full day even once it's been emptied. People sometimes forget that, bring the bin in, the team go out there, the bin's not there to repair.
Right.
So that is a complication for us, that it's not always there to repair, which does tend to drag down that SAL.
But there's no issues around things like bin shortages at the moment, or
no. There has been in the past, but there certainly hasn't been for about 9 months or so. The issue is that residents or sometimes their neighbours kind enough to bring their bin in, not realising that it's supposed to be out there. So there's a little bit of a complication with that.
In regards to the missing bins, do we have a percentage? This for 4,776. Do we know a percentage of those that was reported within the time frame to get the free replacement versus
Hybris don't give us that. I can't give you that.
Okay.
Yeah, don't break it down by that.
All right. I had a question around the shopping trolleys. Has there been any progress on that?
There is a memo that will be coming out, but I'm happy to speak to it. So Retail New Zealand have met with 4 of the 6 main players and had some feedback from them. They felt that the bins aren't abandoned, that they're actually stolen. They have systems in place. What I'm trying to do now is get a copy of their SOP on how their trolleys are retrieved, so that we can have a look to see what timeframes they're putting on it, and that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. I am aware that Rotorua have recently put something in the bylaw, where they are collecting up the trolleys and then charging the supermarkets if they don't come and retrieve them in a certain timeline. So that's the next step.
Yeah, because for those of us during the campaign, there was you just see them everywhere.
Yeah.
And
the feedback,
I'm seeing a lot more litter in the shopping trolleys now too, which again, the resident that spoke to us at council said that the operators, the shopping trolley owners won't collect it if it's got litter in it.
That was not what we've been told.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you get one like that, can you pass it on to me? Also, the data that we did have some access to through SnapSend Solve. SnapSend Solve won't share that anymore because it's not our data. It belongs to the supermarkets.
Okay. And the final question from me is, and thank you we got a heads up yesterday, but is there any update that you can give us over the contaminated sand issue? Because people obviously are very stressed about what to do, where to go in terms of
that's coming to us.
We had that this morning.
We're all over that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great.
Okay, just one quick question for me. When you said the red bins are on the UAGC, is that right?
Yeah.
Does that mean the cost of the bin is the same for everyone because it comes out of that number?
Yeah.
It's no dearer to dump your KFC in Fernalton than it is to dump it in another part of town. It's the same price.
Everybody pays the same price.
Okay, Thank you. Melanie?
I was just wondering who pays for Snaps in Solve. Now you've
The supermarkets.
so all of
Well, we council have Snaps in Solve,
yeah.
but their system is paid for them. They pay it to get the information so they
Right.
can collect the
I
trolleys.
see.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
our data.
Right.
Hey, is that all the question? Is that it? Very good stuff. No, very good. Nathaniel, then Andre.
Yeah, first quick follow-up on Pauline's question. So is there, like the last time that we increased those charges for the gate fees, did we notice a drop in usage?
I couldn't give you that answer.
That'd be quite, I guess that would be
Yeah,
quite
if-
useful
if
for
you
us to,
want to-
yeah, that'd be useful for us to know
include
for
that.
making that decision in the future if we want
Yeah.
to increase those.
It's
If it actually results in a reduction in.
It's a bit hard to tell as well because we see that the amount of waste generated and also even the amount of recycling is closely linked with what's happening in the economy, how much people are spending, how much they're dumping. So it's probably more related to that.
Yeah. Lots of different factors. Cool.
Yeah, it's not one factor.
Yeah, but I imagine you'd have some idea as a business of how sort of elastic the demand is based on price. So it'd be useful to know. Anyway, main thing I was asked about is recycling and how we're doing comparatively sort of nationally and internationally around the range of things that people can recycle and whether there are some big materials going to landfill that we'd like to be able to recycle in the future.
Do you mean reuse or recycle as in recycle bin?
As in recycle bin, like maybe grades of plastic or other stuff like that we're not able to handle yet. Yeah.
Well, as part of our waste assessment, we did a solid waste analysis. So you took a sample from what's been dumped in the pits and then also what's been put into the red bins to have a breakdown of what exactly is being thrown out. And as part of that, we identified things like treated timber. So there's also a lot of recyclables or potential recyclables going into those bins and pits. So that's definitely informing our future options, looking at what we can do with some of those materials. But the likes of treated timber is notoriously hard to deal with. So we're still trying to look at options for that kind of thing.
But also what goes in the yellow bin, there is a national standard.
Yeah.
So we are aligned with the national standard.
Yeah.
We're taking what everyone is taking.
Sweet.
Andre?
Thank you. I'm just putting it out there. I'm happy to volunteer a few hours to do the rifling through people's yellow bins, make sure. But I quite enjoy it. I've stopped getting invited to people's houses because every time I'll put it in the bin and we can't put that there. I don't get invited anywhere anymore. It's becoming a real problem. But the battery recycling, I see there's two more to be added around the I'm just making sure one of those in the southwest where there's none currently.
At the moment, I'm trying to get one into the university, but that depends on their insurance and their participation.
Yep.
I was trying to get one into Turanga as well, but they've turned me down on that. So yes, we are being strategic with where we're putting them.
So, I mean, there's already one nearest university now, already one nearest town now. There's none in the southwest, like between Prebleton, Cashmere, Hallsville, Workingville. There's absolutely none.
Where would you recommend? One thing.
Anywhere in the southwest.
Yeah. What we would need a post. Where would you say that the majority of people would be convenient? Also, what we would like is the stores to contribute towards the collection. So there's quite a significant cost. Most stores are quite keen to have a unit until they find out what it costs. And we would like to cost share that. Would you say that would be Hallsville, say at the New World or the library there, or? I
think we should give it a go. So we'll have a yarn offline.
Yeah.
But desperate need in the southwest. Like, you know, we had a truck on fire the other week in Oaklands in a street with overhead power lines. Like it was quite concerning actually. But again, if the nearest battery recycling drop-off point is 15 minutes away, people just won't. They just won't. So thank you.
Aaron.
So just a couple of things. Can we extend the hours of the rubbish dumps, especially in summer? They shut at 4:30.
That would be a change in level of service, which we can't really answer in what we're doing with the overview, but it might be something you consider with the next presentation.
Yeah, even if we experiment with just one of them, like just Sticks Mill. Well, yeah. Well, they always say put the problem in your own backyard. So more than experiment, happy to experiment.
Aaron, the next presentation will have it.
Okay, that one, and then it's not the 70s anymore. And the other one is, speaking of the 70s, can we start recycling glass?
Next presentation.
Next
Oh, okay.
presentation. Yeah, thank you. Which is I'm looking forward to. And lastly, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you. Just how often do you show discretion in a case where a bin has been stolen or removed or misplaced by whoever? Is that something you do relatively often?
It really depends on the circumstances, doesn't it?
If it's been stolen, as in if someone else has taken the bin, I mean, we can see if it's been presented elsewhere. So we do a lot of looking into what's happened using our bin lift data. If it's been removed because it was contaminated, but it turns out someone else was contaminating, then we also look into that as well. We call that bin tampering, and we examine the photos, and it's often quite obvious that someone else was dumping rubbish on top of the bin, that kind of thing. So yeah, our admin team do a lot of work with the residents just to see what's going on, and it often comes down to their individual situation.
Yeah, so you have a bit of data, you've got a bit of history around a particular user of
we investigate on the data and information we've got and what the residents provided.
Yeah, and just lastly, in terms of fly tipping and things like that, apparently in Germany they have a situation where once a month, at the end of the month, they collect fridges. The authorities collect fridges and big items like sofas and couches and things like that from people. Would it be possible for us to do a trial in a certain area to see whether that might be effective at reducing fly tipping?
There is a service that would be a free service, would it? Because those services are available to the public now.
Oh, okay.
There are people.
Yeah.
There are people that will pick up scrap metal for free, and there are people that will pick up rubbish and take it to the rubbish tip for a set price.
Yeah, because I know in Auckland, I used to be surprised driving through the streets sometimes and see all sorts of stuff put on the side of the road.
They do have an inorganic collection, but they don't find that eliminates fly tipping.
Okay. Yeah.
And it is a significant cost, and the feedback has been that if they knew now, they probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, okay. Good to know. Thanks.
Okay, right. Thank you, everyone.